Hey everyone, in my recent job search, I have been interviewed at many companies. In this video, we'll be solving a question that was asked in Kotak interview. So the interviewer asked me to create a universal function that accepts an object as parameter. And we need to kind of flatten that particular object to this format. So here for this input, the output should be this way. Here, the user underscore name is one key, user underscore address underscore primary underscore home is other key, and similarly all the keys need to be covered. So understand this is one of the most important pattern question that will be asked in different interviews. In another interview, the interviewer asked me a similar question, but he expected me to have a camel casing keys for the output object. So here username he wanted user name in a camel case, and similarly user address primary house in a camel case. Similarly, he expected me to output the object. So without wasting time, let's start coding this particular question. So let me copy this particular question and put it in an IDE, and let's solve this particular question. So I'll be creating a function which accepts an object as parameter, and then will be kind of returning this particular object. So to return this object, we'll have to kind of create an empty object and do some data manipulation on top of that empty object, and at the end we have to return the data manipulated object. So what I'm doing is I'll be creating an empty object, a result object, and here I'll be doing some data manipulations, which means I'll be converting this result object to this particular format, and at the end I'll be returning my result. So now to convert this object to this object, we need to iterate over each and every key, and we need to convert to this format. So what we have to do is we will be iterating over each and every key. Let key in our object, I'll be iterating over each and every key, and let's say if the value for a key is a primitive data type, then we'll be pushing that value into our result. If the value to our key is again an object, then we need to flatten this object again. So for that, what we have to do is we'll be kind of calling a flatten object recursively for this object again. Okay, but then what we have to do is we have to give user underscore address as a key again to attach to this primary to get this particular key. So if you understand properly, for this whole of the object, for each and every key, I have to give user, and for this particular object, I have to give user and then address to each and every key within this particular object. And for this object, user, address and primary, I have to give here for each and every keys. So what we have to do is while calling this particular flatten object recursively, I'll have to give my address, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll be I'll be kind of having a kind of another parameter parent key, right? And while I call this particular flatten object for, let's say, this address, I'll have to give object of our key, right? Object of our key, which will be this, right? And then we'll have to give this as a parent key, right? So also understand we need to call this recursively only for object types. If it is a primitive data type, we need not to go till then. So I'll be writing an if condition. Let's say if if the key is of only object, type of a object is only an object, in that case only I'll have to call this recursively. In other cases, I need not to call this recursively. Instead, I can put that particular key in our result. So in other cases, let's say the name. In that case, what I can do is I can have the key and I can put this particular key to result. Result of name would be the value of the name. So key. So also we wanted user between our name. So what we can do, key inside the parent key, I'll send user everywhere, right? Let's say I'll call this particular flatten object with our user, and then within the parent key I'll try to send user. I'll try to send user underscore, let's say, in the initial phase. In this case, parent key user underscore would be given here, and the name user underscore I wanted, let's say, parent key, and then our key. So parent key user underscore, and then our key would be the name is equals to this particular key, which will be the name Vishali. In this case, it will be assigned. If it is, let's say, an object here, in that case I'll be calling this flatten object with this particular object, and then the key would be here. Whatever key I'll be sending, I have to send it in a different way, where the parent key I have to take, which will be the parent key I'll have to take, and then to that key I have to append this particular current key, and I have to send it again for this object, right? So what I'm going to do is I'll kind of call, I'll kind of send this particular key here as well. So here I'll be sending a key similar to this, similar to this. So now at least let's console this to see what exactly is happening, and then we can kind of write it properly. So let me console this particular output, console.log of this particular function. Let me execute it. So here, if you observe, user underscore name we got, and the other keys are gone basically. So why that happened means, let's let me increase this, let me put it in an understandable way. So why that happened means, here we are calling this flattened object, but then it we are not able to push this particular returned content of flattened objects basically. That is the reason this issue is observed. What I'll be doing is I'll be kind of putting whatever this particular flattened object is written, right? Let me put it this result, and then I'll also you know spread my result which is existing on top of the existing result. I'll kind of do this. So let me execute it and see the output. So there seems to be some issue here with this. So let's fix it. What exactly is happening here? Seems like key, somehow this got disturbed actually. Key, flatten object with this key, and then this. Okay, let's check now. Parent key and then key. There is some issue with this as well. Let's see what the issue is. Parent key and then the key. Okay, let's remove this and see. Yeah, so here if you observe, it is giving almost the correct result, but then it is going into this particular cross as well. And for cross, as cross is an object, it is again trying to flatten this with the zeroth index and first index. So that's why it is kind of giving us not expected result basically. So in this case what we can do is, if it is an object and array dot is array, so if this particular object is array or not, we'll see, right, key. And if it is an array, right, if it is an array, then we need not to iterate it. If it is not an array, if it is not an array, then we'll iterate. Let's see. Yeah, so if you observe, it is giving us the proper result. And one more observation here, if you see, there is no underscore between these. So to get the underscore, see what we are doing here. While giving the parent, so I believe while giving the parent key, we are not giving the underscore here. So that's why if we give underscore to the parent key, then it would work properly, right? So here if you see, it is working as expected. So always remember to call the function recursively to each and every keys, and also to store the result which is calculated till that point. So I'll be providing a link to the blog for this question in the description, and please refer that. And also if you like the content, please subscribe to my channel.